Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're at in the world, globally. Welcome again to Charles White Motivational Speaking. It's your boy, Charles White. It's so good to see you again. I hope that you're doing well. Your family is doing well. Your friends are doing well. I hope this week is going well for you. I'm so happy to be back. Welcome to the Welcome Back series, the Black Sitcom series. We're coming with part 2 tonight, part 2. But before we do that, we're going to do a little bit of review. Now, if you wasn't with us last week, please go out and watch Family Matters. Yes, we recorded Family Matters last week. And here was your 3 key points. I'm going to give them to you quickly, and then we're going to jump right into part 2 of the Welcome Back series, Black Sitcom series. So, your first point for Family Matters, point 1, was you need a Steve and Carl friendship in your life. You need a Steve and Carl friendship in your life. Your second point was trust the ones that's willing to give you tough love, but also give you grace so you can learn. And then your last point was this. Family is way bigger than the people you're related to. Family is way bigger than the people that you're related to. Now, here's something to think about was this, for last week was this. Family Matters means way more than anything we can gain in our lives. Family Matters means way more than anything we can gain in our lives. So now, we're going to jump in part 2. We're going to jump right into part 2. Now, this Black TV sitcom was released February 8th, 1974. February 8th, 1974. The final airing was on August 1st, 1972. So it had 5 full seasons of the show. It had really 3 creators, but it was really one that I really saw that was talked about, and it was Norman Lean. He was really talked about a lot that really created this show. Now, if you know this show, now, again, came out February 8th, 1974, and it was released on August 1st, 1979. Now, if you know the show that I'm talking about, the show that we're going to be talking about is Good Times. That's the topic. Good Times. Why was Good Times such a wonderful show? Please, if you never watched Good Times, please go watch 1 episode of Good Times. I promise you, you're going to watch 2 or 3 after that. So the topic is Good Times, Black TV sitcom, released February 8th, 1974. Final airing was on August 1st, 1979. So we had 5 seasons of this show. Good Times was a really funny show, but it attacked really serious issues. It unpacked and dived into serious issues. Some issues that we also see today. Some of the same issues that they were unpacking, we still see today. Like racism and gang violence and discrimination and so many other things that they unpacked. But it was one in particular that this family was facing in their lives, and it was poverty. Yes, they faced poverty. Not only did they face racism because they was black in the 70s, let's just keep it real, but they also had to deal with the fact of poverty at that time. So throughout the show, they were unpacking difficult and talking about difficult issues, but they were always finding a way to find some good out of it. It was so interesting when you watch the show, because there was one episode where the father was trying to get a job, and he's passed the state test, and he did everything that the state test was supposed to do. And he goes in there for the interview, and then they tell him, well, your age you're a little too old. You're just a little too old. You passed the state test, you did everything, but you're just a little too old for this job. And he sat in there and he told his wife and his kids, hey, we're going to have a celebration. And he come home and they're already celebrating, and he walks into the door and he has to face the reality that he was dealing with diversity. So there were so many issues that they were unpacking in their lives. But Good Times taught us something that was so important throughout the seasons. And this is Good Times point number 1. All bad times can revert, can change, can switch up if you want it to. Now you got to do something with it. You can't just sit there and not do nothing. All bad times can revert, can change, can switch up to good times. You see throughout the 5 seasons that there were so many things happening, from the gang violence to the unemployment to the racism to the violence to the poverty that their friends and their family faced. But all throughout the bad, they found some good somewhere in it. They found good. So interesting how we look at our lives today and we see people facing unemployment, and we see people face racism and gang violence and poverty, and you be looking at them trying to figure out how in the world are you smiling with what you going through, because they learn how to live through bad times. They learn how to revert them through good times. They learn how to switch them up to good times. And so we're sitting there watching this show, and I'm learning about this show, and it was so interesting as you watch the show, because so many people leave as the seasons go along and they grow up. But you think about your life, all the bad times that you had to deal with, all the bad times you had to face. I'm talking to me too. All the bad times that you actually had to look at and say, if I give up, what will happen? But you decided to revert it to good times, and you found solutions, and you got with mentors and therapists and teachers and mentors and parents, and you did all of this to revert it to good times. So you see the many different issues that they unpack, and they're unpacking them, and they're looking at them, facing them in the mirror. Every bad time can revert to a good time. But you got to do something. You got to do something. You just can't sit and not, I'm in a bad situation, so it's going to revert good if I do nothing. No, you have to do something in your own change, in your own switch up. It's so interesting, because now I can really talk about this and face this. When my mother passed away, it was a really dark time. A lot of stuff happened within 72 hours of my family's life, literally. We're sitting there dealing with this, and I'm looking at it saying, dang, we got a really bad situation going on. And I started looking at some of the good that I got to see. I had 3 nieces that was really smart and growing up, going to school. I had an older niece, and she was working, making sure my sister was taken care of. They tag teaming together to take care of my mother's house. Then I have another sister in New Jersey, and she doing her thing, making sure that my niece up there is making sure that she's taken care of. I'm looking at it saying, look at all the bad around me. I'm saying, well, yeah, that's bad. Yeah, it don't look too good. But look at all the good that's going on. They got a brother that graduated and went to Livingstone, still got a 3.9 GPA. And I'm looking at it saying, look at all the bad that's going on. But we reverted to good. So Good Times teaches us this. How do you face the realities of life when they're coming at you? All bad times can revert to good times. And throughout this show, you see that in any situation, they found something interesting. They found something that they could learn something that they can build on. And this is something we have to learn in our own personal lives. Something that we can learn, something that we can build on, and something that we can grow on. No matter what we face. Have I faced racism? Yes, I have. I'm going to keep it real on here tonight. Have I faced challenges in my life just like you that's going to watch as you have faced racism, challenges. You have faced discrimination. Some of you have faced gang violence. Some of you have faced poverty. But whatever the situation is, here's your good times. Point number 2. In any situation, find something good. Find something good in it. Find something good. Some good has got to come out of this. Something good has got to come out of this situation. That's what good times teaches us. That in any situation, you got to find something good in it. Any situation. Go back to that episode that I was watching. Because it struck me how the father reacted to the person that was giving him the interview. He says, so you telling me I did. Basically, I'm paraphrasing what he said here. You're basically telling me I did all of this for you to say, my age is the reason why I can't get this job. So you telling me you're pushing me away because of my diversity. You're pushing me away because of this. But somehow, somewhere, when he gets home, they're celebrating. They're having a good time waiting for him to come home. And he has to face the reality of telling his family, I did not get the job. But in any situation, you find something good. Because what I found so good was what he said sitting there. He could have said anything at that time, but what he said was, what you telling me is, let's get this straight. Let's make sure we got an understanding. So me and you are both straight in any situation. I'm going to find something good. Because you're going to tell me I got to take food off my family table because of my age. Not because I didn't pass the test. It's so crazy that they tell you to pass the test, and we can park the car right here for a second. They tell you to pass the test, but they still don't give you the job. Or they tell you you need qualifications. Well, how do I get qualifications if you do not give me the job? It just don't work. But in any situation, I'm going to find something good. I don't know how you name a show Good Times in the 70s with what they were dealing with in Black America. They were dealing literally with racism. In their face, racism. And you telling me Good Times. But Good Times also teaches us point number 1 and point number 2. Point number 1 was this. All bad times can revert, can change, can switch up to good times. But you got to do something. You got to play a role in what your switch up is. And your switch up might be switching the people around you, switching your job, switching your location. So you can do what you got to do. And then good time point number 2 is, in any situation, find something good. Find something good. Something good has got to happen. Something good has got to come out of this situation. Whatever the situation is, something good has got to come out of it. Good Times teaches us this in this funny but serious sitcom. But then we tiptoe through this wonderful show, and we meet this brother by the name of JJ. JJ was probably the most funniest character on the show, and most people love JJ. He was everybody's favorite. Everybody knew JJ. Favorite line played by Jimmy Walker. Everybody knew who JJ was. The world knew by one word he would say, all throughout the show. But if you go watch interviews and podcasts and listen to some of the cast at the time that was in the show after the show, they was really, hey, okay, he good, but dang, he only saying one word for real. So there was some pushback there between some of the cast, but they came together to still do the show. It's so funny how in the background you may have issues, but then on the scenes you do what you got to do to be successful. Sometimes that's how life works. Sometimes in the background you might be butting heads, but when them lights coming on, you have to do everything to make sure you're a success. Not just you, but the people around you. So you got JJ, played by Jimmy Walker, and he would say this word that everybody knew and everybody would phrase and quote. And when he did interviews, no matter what interview it was, I was watching interviews on YouTube, they would ask him, Dynamite, they would ask him, and he would always say, no, that life is over. It was wonderful. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I did it. But now I'm older. I'm wiser. I've lived that life. But JJ, he taught me something. Throughout the show, he taught me something. He taught me something about that word that was so unique. And he made me realize something listening to him. Even though it was funny, it was so significant what he was saying. Yeah, it was funny, but it was so significant. Because Good Times point number 3 is this. Live life like it's dynamite. You gotta live life like it's dynamite. You need to live life so unique. You need to live life with such a swag. When people see you, they don't see that you've been hated on. They don't see that you got poverty. They don't see that you got stuff going on, gang violence in your community. They don't even see that you've been put down because of diversity or race. All you see is they walking with their head held high and they living life like it's dynamite. That's exactly what you need to do. Live life so good. And people be looking like, how they living like that? They just lost their mama. They done lost their niece. Everything breaking loose in their life. And you go to Livingstone and get a 3.9. Yeah, I'm talking about me. So yeah. And they trying to figure out how in the world are you walking with a swag like that? Because I still had to live life like it was dynamite. That's how you gotta live. You gotta walk with a swagger like that. Not that I'm bougie, not that I got everything that I want, not that I got it all together, but it's because, hey, look, I'm still here. I still got it. I still got my swag. I still can stand up. I still got my mind made up. I still can think well. So live life. Good Times teaches us that. As crazy as when he would come in and say it, because sometimes I be thinking, why are you saying it at this time, bro? This is not the time to say this. Bro, this is not the time to say this. But even in hardships, when you see life get so dark, live life like it's dynamite. Live life so excellent. Walk with your head held high. That don't mean you got it all together. That don't even mean you perfect. That means I'm getting it together. I ain't there yet. I'm working on it. I'm getting myself together. I'm getting back on balance. I'm working on myself. That's how you live life. You live life so good. Live life like it's dynamite. Here's just something to think about. I'm done. I'm finished. No matter how bad it may look, always keep the faith, because good times will come. No matter how bad it may look, always, 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 always keep the faith. Keep the faith, because good times will come. Point number 1 was this. All bad times can revert to good times, can change, can switch up to good times. In any situation, find something good. Find something good. And like JJ would tell us in good times, live life like it's dynamite. Those are your 3 points. Your 3 points to get you throughout the week. Thank you for your eyes. Thank you for your ears. Thank you for your hearts. Now, we will meet you again next week. Look, we're going to go into part 3 and part 4 the week after that. So join me. Keep joining me. We're going to keep doing it again. We are back. Welcome back series, the Black Sitcom series. Please join me live. Please go back and watch Family Matters. Please go back and watch Family Matters. Please, please, please support whatever website you see this on. It will be on all 5 platforms. So whatever you support me on, please support me. Please share it. I will be getting flyers out shortly. So please support me all the way throughout the year because we will be back. Again, I do have my brother Chris Wilson coming to join me on Beneath the Surface because we are relaunching Beneath the Surface. So good to see you. God bless you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.